Then the lumbar spine. Look for paraspinal muscle spasm. We have natural lordosis. That increased lordosis would mean more facet joint pressure. Again, same anat. You'll get loaded more on the facet joint. So these guys who have hyperlordosis may have more facet joint affections. And flexed posture is loss of lordosis. So that may be temporary. Loss of lordosis may be temporary due to the muscle spasm, due to the acute phase of that inflammation. And you may have a list. So acute attack of lumbar pains may give you an asymmetry of range, which will present as patient बोलेगा कि वो जब भी मेरे को अटैक आता है ना पेन का, मैं एक साइड पे ऐसा हो जाता हूँ. So that's actually asymmetry causing the list. So I usually try to call it a list rather than scoliosis. When I say scoliosis, I am talking of a more permanent variety. Scoliosis is lateral deviation. So this technically is scoliosis, but we talking it as list because I know this is temporary related to this acute phase of disc prolapse. One-sided, right? So look for that one-sided spasm or one-sided list. Now, range of motion will be flexion and extension. So when you bend forward, each of the spinous processes are going away from each other in the true spine flexion. But if the spine is stiff, then even then the patient will bend forward, but that is like the acetabulum is moving on the head of femur. See this. Both are causing me to touch my, go towards the ground. This is occurring at hip, whereas this is occurring at spine. Got the point? So that is where you can keep your hand and find out whether you're looking at a true spine flexion or the spine is made rigid and the hip is moving. How do you know that? Just keep your hand. Keep your hand just in the upper part of sacrum and the upper part of lumbar spine and ask them to flex. So your fingers will start spreading apart. So either you keep it there and keep it this way and then ask them to come back. So they'll come near each other. So one way or the other, you will know that it is the spine which is moving and not the hips. However, there would be times where both are doing. So you may have a part stiffness. So it will allow a little bit of lumbar flexion, but there is also some amount of hip movement taking place. So that is a visual. It's only with time that you will know that which is working more. Understood? So lumbar flexion extension, same thing. Ask them where is the pain. When they say here and they say ouch, the pain went right till here, then you know it is a radicular pain. Or they say that this didn't give me pain, this gave me pain, but beyond this ouch, there is a huge pain. So mechanical again. So movement giving pain is a sign of mechanical backaches. Asymmetry of range of restriction is mechanical. Okay? And lateral glides is also which you need to look. Keeping the feet a little apart, you need to push the hip. See, this is lateral flexion. That is different. I am talking of lateral glide. In lot of lumbar spine pathologies, one of the lateral glides will be restricted. Again, looking for asymmetric range restriction. All these we are just trying to what I said first. In your mind, can you tick it? Where is this going? Is this going into a mechanical backache? Is it going into an inflammatory backache? Or is this going into the other miscellaneous category that we discussed? Then the stretch signs. You'll have to like face us. Stretching of the nerve root. So you will get this sign only when there is an acute compromise of the nerve root. So you have a situation where you have a canal stenosis lasting 7 years with a S1 deficit. You will not get an SLR restriction. Understood? And SLR is not the degree. It is where the pain is. Again the same thing. You raise this and the patient says, kidhar pain hua? If they say here, here or here, it is of no value. They have to say there is a pain in the lumbar spine at that particular angle. So it is, you may have a situation where the patient has about 60 or 50 degrees at both sides, but no pain. And you may have a situation where the patient has one side 80 degrees painless, other side 70 degrees lumbar pain, then that becomes positive SLR. It is not the degree of SLR, it is where the pain is that is important. Alright? The other way of looking at whether this SLR was really giving the pain is to confirm it 2-3 other ways. So imagine she got pain at this level. So either I do this and dorsiflex it further, by that I will stretch that nerve root further, and when I do this, her lumbar pain should increase. Sorry, so this, I dorsiflex the ankle. That increases the lumbar pain. Or if I bend her hip knees and her pain disappears. So both are confirmatory things that this is a stretch sign which is positive. And when you say SLR positive, we are talking of only L5 and S1 nerve roots. We are not talking of any other nerve root. People have this strange notion that any backache, SLR is for all segments. No. SLR is only for L5 root and S1 root. Proximal roots will not give you an SLR positive negative. When you are looking at this, there are pathologies which can mimic each other. So you have a SLR restriction giving pain. So one is hip knee bend relieves pain. But imagine the hip knee bend worsens the pain. Then it is not SLR, then it's a hip pathology. Clear? SLR giving pain, hip knee bend relieves pain, problem is spine. SLR giving pain, hip knee flexion further increases pain, hip pathology.
Sir, so the pain will increase in the back or the hip?
So in this area, see, lot of times now patients are not really able to localize also. It's not that they are duds. The pain may be localized. They may not get it pain here. They get something like this also. So it is like spine also, hip also, SI joint also, and it's sometimes really difficult to pinpoint. Even after all this. So this is what I was talking about. Then make them prone to look for tenderness and to look for the other stretch sign, which is the femoral stretch, which is for the L3-4 nerve root. Look for tenderness right from top to bottom in different zones. Okay? Paraspinals. The posterior superior iliac spine is a very common area of tenderness and may not be very specific to a pathology. But don't get waylaid with that. Lot of posterior superior iliac spines are also areas of the natural fat pad. Patient has started becoming aware of the pain, so they keep on moving their hand and they feel that nodule there and they feel that that nodule is the cause and a pathology and maybe a cancer. So you have to tell them that that is natural, normal, don't get scared. Okay? So tenderness, whichever place. And this is the femoral stretch. Femoral stretch causing pain here and here? No. Femoral stretch causing pain there is positive. And that is for the L3-4 nerve root only. Not L5-S1, not L2. Okay? For the lumbar spine, the inguinal area is L1, the pocket area is L2, the patella is L3, this is L4, the dorsum of the first interosseous is L5, the lateral border of the foot is S1, S2 is a thin line running posteriorly straight up, and S3, S4 is perianal. Knee jerk is L3-4, ankle jerk is S1. Motor, take the toes up tight. That is EHL, EDL supplied by L4, नीचे दबाओ. FHL, FDL supplied by S1. Take both the ankles towards you, up towards you. Dorsiflexion of ankle supplied by tib ant, which is L4. पूरा नीचे दबाओ. Gastrosolius supplied by S1. Relax. Hamstring. Bending. Pull, 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 pull. Flexion of the knee, S1 2. S1 more. Come on. Knee extension, L3 4. L3 more. Take the knee towards your down. Hip flexor, L2. Sorry, L2. Or this side, whichever. Raise this up. Force it up towards the ceiling. Hip abductor, L5. Take this over. Bend the knee, and raise the whole knee upwards. Up like this. Hip extensor, S1. Is positive SLR femoral stretch a mandate for nerve compression? No, that's what we do. With neuro deficit, a nil neuro and negative SLR on examination, is nerve compression ruled out? Not necessarily. If the patient has limb pain, then he can still have a nerve compromise. So you can have a negative SLR, you can have a nil neuro, and yet there will be a root canal stenosis or a lumbar canal stenosis. Trendelenburg test is to check for hip stability in terms of when the person is standing, both the anterior spines are horizontal. When you lift one leg up, the lifted leg normally, because of the gravity, should go down. But it doesn't go down because we need to walk and we can't have our foot striking the ground. So nature has provided the gluteus medius to contract, so it takes the pelvis up so that we can clear the ground. Now in people who have proximal myopathy, as in osteomalacia and vitamin D deficiency, which is the commonest cause, or there is a hip virus, or there is some other possibility due to which the gluteus medius maximus are not working well, they will have this weakness. So instead of this going up, it will drop down. So when it drops down, it's a positive Trendelenburg for this, not the lifted one. Understood, na? When I do this and it drops down, I am saying it's the left Trendelenburg positive, though the right is dropping. Understood? So Trendelenburg positive is seen in hip pathologies or in proximal myopathies where the commonest cause is hypovitaminosis D. This is the plumb line. This is again of practical significance rather than theoretical thing. That this is where our weight bearing axis goes through. The cervical spine is somewhere in the body and posterior aspect. In the dorsal spine, it is somewhere in the anterior aspects, and the lumbar spine is somewhere at the facet joints. So when you have increased lordosis, the facet joints alone are loaded. When you have increased kyphosis, the anterior fibers are loaded. So that's why you see in so many people, you have anterior osteophytes in the dorsal spine, a huge amount. That's because they have been loading that more. Nature tries to throw new bone where there is more stress. For those who are hyperlordotic with facet joint arthropathies, they develop osteophytes in the facet joints because their plumb line is doing this. So, when you want to rehab a spine patient, you need to make sure that that plumb line comes back this way. So, if you have a situation where they have tight hamstrings, that will cause the gluteus to do something, so the pelvis will tilt wrongly, so the lordosis will get worsened. So that kinetic chain that I was talking about with someone, right starts from here going right till there. One of them goes wrong, it keeps on getting affecting the other things, top to bottom or bottom to top.